What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Average Money Podcast. Way back when, episode 15, I had the great opportunity to sit down and interview the JJ Buckner. You know, the little throwback from 2 years ago when you were first on my channel, and people have been requesting you interview me, and we were kind of waiting for us to get together in the same room, but also now we just passed 50 episodes.
Oh, wow, we did.
Yeah, this will be episode 51.
Excellent.
So if you are new to the podcast, though, and this is your first episode, my name is Brad Finn. I am joined with JJ Buckner here in New York City. What's up, buddy?
In New York. I'll tell you what, man, this city, I think I said this last time I was here, something about New York, man, gets you fired up. I don't know if it's like the entrepreneur spirit in me or what it is. Even just flying in and seeing like the skyline of New York City and just seeing like all the large sky risers and everything, it's pretty motivating. It's a little different from back home. Jeez, oh my gosh, when we were driving from New York to your house, I had the whole shit handled like 6 times, freaking out. We saw an accident, cars right in the middle of the road. No one cares, just driving around, honking. I'm like, what is going on here? And if we were back home, everybody would be waving, getting out of their car, like making sure the guy's like picking up his bumper and putting it back together.
We got somewhere to go. And if you've flown into New York, you can fly into LaGuardia or JFK. And last time you flew into JFK, this time you flew into LaGuardia. And the cool thing about landing in LaGuardia is you fly by the Manhattan skyline. If you ever fly into New York, you want to be, as you're walking down the aisle, you want to be on the right. Like you want the window, as you're flying in, you want the city on your left if you could pick your seat right. Because you'll get an awesome view of not only the New York City skyline, but then Citi Field, the World's Fairgrounds, things like that. But here we are.
Yep.
We are a laid back kind of episode.
But you know what? I don't know if you know this or not. The episode where you interviewed me and we had those questions, it was a lot of fun, but it is actually one of our most popular episodes.
Yeah, and people have been asking.
Yeah. It shocks me, though, because you know I always stress about, like, you know, nobody wants to hear about us. That's why we need to get more guests on here, which we do have some cool guest episodes coming up as well. But I think I may stress about it a little bit more than you do, but I'm just kind of worried about, I don't want to talk about, but then we get good feedback.
Yeah.
When we do episodes like this, when it's just you and I bantering each other and kind of just going back and forth.
Sometimes we'll get comments like, don't really care what your kids had for lunch today, guys. It's like, sorry, here we are. And I'm also, if you're on the YouTube channel, thanks for hooking it up with the Drink Beer Buy Stocks gear.
Go,
I got hats on. I got shirts on. I'm ready to be a little bit of a fanboy. I embarrassed JJ at the airport when I picked him up. Everyone was taking TikTok videos of him walking down the aisle.
Gosh.
All right, but I don't know whether to be nervous or not.
Yeah, so for those of you that are listening that haven't listened to that episode, because it was an early one, it was episode 15, you said?
15, yeah.
So what we did is Brad asked me 5 questions. And these are kind of like, not really rapid fire, but more of first thing that comes to your head.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like we're in a job interview right now. You know, you got to be on the spot and you don't know what's coming at you. So I have about 10 or 11 questions here. I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but I have some serious ones, some good ones. Some that'll make you think, and then I have some like funny ones at the end to kind of
no superheroes.
No superhero questions. No, I don't want to hear the Spider-Man. Come on now, dude.
I love Spider-Man. Don't know what he looks like, but I know he's blue and red. I know that for damn sure.
Oh boy. So what I want to do here is I'll ask Brad a question. He'll answer it, and I'll give my kind of quick answer as well, because I think it's cool to hear different opinions on this stuff. But we want to roll with the first one. You want to start it all off?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. So some of these may look familiar or sound familiar to you, because I grabbed a couple of them from that book that you told me about on my episode that we didn't talk about on mine.
Oh, okay.
So this one is, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? Could be an investment of money, time, or energy.
Investments.
First answer, is it going to be a money investment, time investment, energy investment? Like,
no, mine's education.
Okay.
I think I'm one of the few people that's like glad I went to school and I invested in that. I don't necessarily do what I got my degree in. It helped me. I had to continue my education to become a teacher, but I think it taught me a lot about failure, about success. It took me longer than the average person to graduate. So it would have been very, very easy for me to just quit college and say I'm not good at it, but I just wouldn't accept that. So I kept going back and forth, and I'm glad that I used my education for one, but the things that it taught me outside of physics, You know, I think there's something to be said, and I tell this to my seniors all the time, or even my juniors. Like, high school isn't so you can learn about the Revolutionary War per se. It's definitely not. You're not there to learn about the Newton's 3 laws. You're there to handle conflict, to succeed as well as fail, like things like that. It's more of a growth thing, and I'm glad I did that. But I also just think time-wise, like, and education far outside that, like the hours of the Dave Ramsey podcast that I listened to when I was learning about money, I really, really, really focused on, I like to know as much as I can. So I'm going to find every tool and resource.
It's life-changing. You know, when you take the time to sit down and really research and teach yourself something, whether that be going to college to get a degree in something that's going to have a return on your investment, or have something more like a Dave Ramsey type thing, which also will have a return on your investment, but it's a little bit of a different scenario there. You're spending the time yourself, putting in the work yourself, and you know, you don't have a teacher giving you a deadline. Like when you have the Dave Ramsey stuff, or you're trying to make a big change in your life, it's actually you taking those steps, saying, okay, what can I do to better myself? And whichever, you know, this could be a new diet you want to try to help yourself, you know, physically, or if it's, you know, like you said with Dave Ramsey, to help yourself with money. I think taking that time and helping yourself become educated, because that's one thing I wish I would have focused on more. And I think probably everyone says this, like when we were younger. Now I figure out, like, knowledge is power, man.
Yeah,
the more
the best
you know,
investment is the investment in yourself, whether it's education, health, nutrition, whatever it is.
So true. So I'll give my quick answer on this one, and it may sound, I don't know if it's going to sound weird or not, but it's my wife. So
I was going to say that, but I know the people out there like, your wife is not something you can buy.
Right. So what I mean by investment is I invested my time, and I invested my effort to, you know, try to like win her over and to try and keep her with me, you know, and now even still to this day, you know, with being a husband and now a father, it takes time as well to, you know, keep the marriage alive and keep things working. And I think that's one big thing that I truly admire, is being able to have that relationship, because there's one of these questions you'll find out. I was like, there's a married with kids JJ question, and then there's like a single YOLO JJ answer. I mean,
I don't know if I'm allowed to go back there.
You'll hear it in a second. So it'll be a good one. But yeah, definitely the wife for me, because I know I would not be where I'm at if it wasn't for her.
Yeah, I'd be a degenerate.
Yeah, we both would be. Let's be honest. Okay, number 2. How was a failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure of yours? I think I know your answer for this one, but I'm gonna wait and see.
No, I don't know. I failed a lot, dude. But if I have to think about one failure that I think I've learned the most of, I wasn't always like a very like nice guy. I was always like a sarcastic, like ball buster, maybe a little bit of a bully even, but not like a bully that would like beat kids up because like a skinny kid. Like I was just like rude. I was always known for saying inappropriate things like out of pocket, that's like trying to get a laugh from people. And I still do that from time to time when I'm nervous, but that's something that I really, really worked on. And it wasn't until when my dad passed away and people that he hadn't spoken to in years that I'd only heard about in stories, that flew in for Thanksgiving. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I realized how much people respected my dad.
He left a legacy.
Yeah, he really did. And people came out of the woodworks, like I said, Thanksgiving weekend, to fly to New York and see that. And it put a lot of things in perspective about who I wasn't young. Like I was 35, 36 years old. And I think it really made me reflect on how I treat people, how I treated my students. Cause now if I bump into an old student from 10 years, the first thing I want to say is like, sorry for being that cocky, arrogant prick. And cause I know I probably was, but I think that was my biggest failure, I think, is not treating people the way I think people now should be treated, whether that's immaturity or just whatever. And that set me up now because, to the best of my ability, because nobody's perfect, I really just try and give people the benefit of the doubt and try and be a little bit more patient with people. And I don't know. I think that's like I don't know if that's an actual failure, but I failed at treating people kindly when I was a kid, definitely.
I like that, and I'm glad you brought that up because that is something I think not a lot of people talk about is the power of like being just like a good, nice like guy.
Yeah,
like
it's just easier. It really is easier. And the end of my YouTube videos, like that's really like something that my dad instilled. You know, work hard, stay positive, be kind to people. And like I said, I always thought that I had to have this reputation of like, but then I'm like, nobody liked that. You know, nobody. I look back like nobody liked that. I see people now and they just look at me like, oh, what are you gonna say now? You know,
you hear that saying, "Nice guys finish last." I don't necessarily believe that. You know, man. Like I think there's a time and point where like what's the word I'm looking for? The aggressive person has to come out in certain areas. I definitely believe that, but overall, and I'll be honest with you guys, like I really probably do need to work more on being more of like a nicer person because I'm like an extrovert type guy. You know, I love being around people and everything, but sometimes I get quick to like getting annoyed. I don't it's kind of weird.
We all do. I mean, it's human nature, and I'm not saying like I'm Gandhi,
right?
But
you're definitely not Gandhi.
And there's people, that are close to me, like recently, that are like, you still say some pretty inappropriate things sometimes.
Yeah.
But the people that have known me forever and really, and that's another thing too, like how you handle hate and stuff on the internet, or you know, there's the people that know who I am and know the things that I've done. Yeah, like that failure, and then falling out of school a few times and keep going back. That's probably my most favorite one because I really believe you have to be good at failing to be good in life.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you learn is failure, and that's also I think why a lot of people don't do things. We were just talking about this today before we came down here. A lot of people don't start stuff because they're afraid to fail. Guys, you're going to fail so much in life. Why not fail at doing something you like at least? That way it's going to motivate you to try something else. So that's a big one too. Definitely. I'm glad you brought that up. Now, my answer, I had to think about this one for a little bit because I wasn't really quite sure how I wanted to go
I think
about
in your
this.
episode, I was like, the third answer is always the best. Like,
that's so true. Yeah. So true. So mine is patience. And this is something I'm still working on. I am, guys, like my wife, if she's listening right now, she's like shaking her head. I am the most impatient person you'll probably ever meet. Brad, you noticed it probably at the bank the other day. I just get and if I'm hungry, oh my gosh, that's like the worst.
I saw a hangry JJ.
It just, I don't know, like that's something I really do need to work on. And I think I have gotten better. I know I've gotten better with it, but like that has caused me to make quick decisions that have turned into failures that that have clearly could have been avoided. It's made me say and do things to people that I wish I could take back because I'm just impatient and not thinking clearly. And that's something that I really have, I think, focused on as I have became more mature and older, even though I still deal with it every day, being impatient. But I also think that has helped me become successful. Because when I get my mind set on something, and I think you're kind of the same way, when we get our head set on something, it's nonstop, 100% dedicated to that until that is done.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, also is kind of that entrepreneur or like just overall want to be successful type personality that we both have, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have too, is just, I think that failure personality trait of mine has also been a very big reason why I have become kind of successful over the past few years.
Yeah. Patience is tough.
It's very tough.
I think self-reflection is so awesome. I'll give a quick example. Like, I hate when like parties are loud, but I host loud parties, which I never realized. So like last night we were getting ready to go to bed, and like the neighbor a couple houses down, like they were having a bonfire outside, spring day. It's like 10. It was only like 10:30, and like initially I was like, these mother effers, like, do they know? And then like I just sat down and was like, Brad, you host bonfires in the middle of your street on a Tuesday, and you stay out there patience, dude.
Yep, it's a big one. It's something I got to work on, but something that has also helped me big time. So, third question here, we're moving right along. Do you have a morning routine? If so, what does it look like?
I have a morning routine. I think but it's not like sexy and like it's not like something to write a book about. But I think it's more realistic, and there's things that I incorporate pretty much when you have two kids and you have a 9 to 5, your mornings are going to be, pretty standard. And my wife and I, we both have our roles, and it's kind of funny how things move in the morning like clockwork. But I would say like my regular day is same. Get up, shower, use the restroom, get the kids dressed, and get them out. I more am a night owl type of person, so things that some people might do in the morning that I like to do in the evenings, I try and, incorporate some sort of cardiovascular exercise. I used to be like a barbell guy, and now I'm just like at 39, I'm like, let's just elevate my heart rate for 30 minutes. I recently got into the meditation thing, not as like I guess it's so cliche. And I think I fought off meditation and yoga for so long because I didn't want to like fall into one of those meditation. And then you realize too, with like listening to people and understanding other people, you realize like, wow, if there's this many people doing it, maybe there's some benefit. So I'm not a good sleeper.
I still haven't drank the Kool-Aid on that. I need to try it.
Yeah. And I mean, I was never a good sleeper. I'm a toss and turn. I'm a night owl kind of guy. And I put on 10-minute meditations now regularly, and I never make it to the end. Like wow. I put my pods in, and I just
while you're laying in bed.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I just have my phone because I keep my phone pretty far from me, but it's on the other side of the room. And yeah, like when the meditation's over, it just shuts my phone off, and I wake up in the morning, my earbuds or whatever, AirPods are everywhere. But my routine things that I think that I've started to do more than I've ever done before is like that, taking care of myself on a more realistic, like long-term cardiovascular. I could be really strong, but I'd rather like build that cardio as I get older, stretching, meditation, like just personal health.
Healthy.
Personal health. Yeah. Losing both my parents has made me, I'm getting like older. So I try and reflect a lot more on that. But yeah, my mornings probably the same as I'm a coffee drinker, but.
So do you think having a morning routine is helpful or no? Do you think it's not that important? Because you see all these videos on YouTube and all this stuff about my morning routine. Wake up at 5:30, you jump in the ice bath, and then the ice bath, you read 100 pages of a nonfiction. Like some of the stuff I'm watching, I'm like, there's no way you do that every single morning.
I would say that like structure is very, very important. My wife and I, we get up at the same time, whether we're on vacation. I think that's really important, and focusing on how many hours of sleep you get. I learned this with intermittent fasting. Like, it's not about when you go to bed and when you get up. It's about how long you were asleep for.
It's true.
So I more try and focus on the structure of making sure I get like 8 to 10, and whether that means going to bed earlier. My wife and I are known amongst our friends for going to bed very, very early, but we have kids. We're up very early.
Yep.
And I think that's more having a structure. It doesn't matter what you do during your day because, like you said, things are going to change.
Yeah.
But I think people that I've talked to, like, if you're a night owl, some people are just not morning people. Like that 5:30, if that's what works for you. But I know people, I've talked to people that they're like 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. is really 10:30 at night to midnight. And that's kind of like, I get my kids down and I hustle hard from 8 p.m. to midnight, but then I know that I have to sleep, or I know how much sleep I'm going to get.
Yeah. I don't really have a morning routine. Like, I hear both sides. I hear some people say, having that morning routine is going to set you up for success for the day. But I am sometimes the kind of person where a routine sometimes gets boring. I got to switch up a little bit.
Exactly. So it's more like, what time am I waking up?
Yes.
Not what are the tasks that I'm going to complete. I'm a very, very firm believer in making your bed.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think. One of those old, like, you've seen him on YouTube, one of these Navy SEALs. He's like, you want to change your life. It's a small, they talk about this in the Marine Corps, small task. Use that small task. It's very easy. You can succeed, and that builds into more success and snowballs throughout the day. And worst comes to worst, if you have a crappy day, you're getting yourself into a nice made bed. So I guess that is something I do that not a lot of people do.
I mean, that makes sense because that's one task you've already completed for the day.
Immediately.
Yeah, no, I like that. I don't know if I would actually follow that, to be honest, because I know when I get up, that's the last thing I want to do. But I really do like that. Do this, or what is it? Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Make the bed, but deep down, I don't know if I could do that every morning. My wife would love that if I did it every morning, but I don't know if I could pull it off. I should try. I really should, because that is a good point.
Bonus points for her.
Yeah, no doubt.
We could always use bonus points with the wives.
We could always use bonus points. All right, next one. When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused or have lost your focus temporarily, what do you do?
Exercise.
I figured you'd probably say that.
Yeah, there's nothing that clears my mind more than a long bike ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's like it right, and especially now with kids, it's solidarity for me. If I'm not right, that and the beach will do it for me too. This was more like pre-kids because it's like hard to just shoot down to the beach now. But with the drive-on pass, there's lots of times where I've just driven on, put down my tailgate, just sat on my truck and just stared out into the middle of the ocean. But usually that's not great for me because usually my mind's racing when I'm unfocused with the ADHD and stuff like that. And we're always trying to do 8 different tasks, which is why the bike riding always helps clears my mind because there's so many things you have to focus on just riding a bike that I kind of like to get lost in that sort of thing. So exercise, it's really important to me.
It also helps you physically too. It's not just to help you with the old overwhelming and whatnot, but also it's helping your physical self, which I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
So my dad's going to come out a little bit. Not my dad, but me being a dad will come out with this one. But dude, there's something about this that I look forward to. I don't necessarily look forward to doing the actual thing, which I'll say here in a second.
I think I know what it is.
What is it?
Cutting the grass.
Dude, you nailed it. Yeah, that's
I know.
it.
It's cutting the grass.
It's so, dude, and I have a 0-turn riding, so I'm not pushing them or anything. I usually either have a beer, I got my headphones on, I got music or a podcast playing, and that is my time to just unwind from the world. I literally have the best thoughts when I'm cutting grass, man. That's what I hate about wintertime. I don't have that outlet. I don't have that outlet just to get away for 30, 40 minutes and just think about life.
See, that's not unfocused for me. That's more I need, because I'll do the same. I'll vacuum my pool for an hour.
just thinking.
I'll just be out there
So let me ask you this, because I'm always curious about this when I hear this from other people. What are some of the things you're thinking about when you are doing that? Because I'll say this. When I am out there cutting grass, I think of hundreds of different things. Okay. But there's probably a top 2 or top 3 topics that come up in my head. And I never really actually thought about this except now that I'm sitting here talking to you. There's a resemblance of these things that keep coming up over and over when I'm out there cutting that grass. Right. What are they for? Do you have them?
Yeah, I think whenever I'm trying to calm my brain, so usually when I'm really stressed out or not focused, I have a lot of things, quote, on my plate, and I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed. So prioritizing tasks is something that I'm thinking about that calms me down. Okay. Making mental lists. What is the most... Yes, Brad, you have 10 things to do today, but what could maybe make it to tomorrow? What needs to be done immediately, and what things could be, that are on your plate and you can push them. And that's helped me so much where I was putting certain things and prioritizing things that really weren't important to me and neglecting things that should have been. So that's usually the first thing.
Okay.
This one kind of goes in with that. All right, how can I make my wife happy today? And, how can we still, how can we have a fun day together? Because we're married and we're number ones. Those 2 things, obviously I keep my kids happy, but I always think, let's prioritize all the tasks. How am I going to put Tara high up in that priority list? Because she also knows it, work, there's things I have to do. And then I think, what is going to be my next set of tasks? When I'm done with this, let's start building a couple pieces out. Let's start building a couple moves out. And then I think last is just appreciating things. So it sounds super cliche and emo, but when I'm vacuuming the pool and it's super quiet and it's a summer day and it's a Tuesday morning and I realize I have a really good job, I'm off on the summers, the sun is shining, I'm healthy, my pool's pretty clean,
you're happy to be living, man.
Yeah, that appreciation. Prioritize tasks, put Tara high up on that list, and be grateful for the things that I get to do and that quiet piece of moment that I have.
That's good. So I think mine really are my number one is what I go to is what's my next big win? Mm-hmm. What's my next big goal I'm gonna hit, and how am I gonna get there? What's the fastest way I can do this? Now
that's a motivational piece almost.
It is, and that's what makes me. What's the word I'm looking for? I do this all the time. I lose my word.
What makes your clock tick?
That's it. Yeah. That's perfect. That's what gets me going, man. That's what gets me pumped, and that's what gets me, excited to live and to, be doing what I'm doing. So it's probably that one's number one. And then I would say like second, third, these are kind of like tied, would just be like what you said, just appreciating. But I also I talk to God a lot when I'm out there by myself. So like just thanking him for what he's done for me and my family and like giving me the life that I've had the chance to live already at such a young age. I feel very blessed to be able to do that. And then it's also just thinking about like my family and dude, like literally like that's the one thing on this earth that I live for. Like that's it. Like and yeah, I know we got listeners out here who don't have a family yet. Like they are in a family, but they're not married, don't have kids. Right. I'm serious.
Hold
like,
on to that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Like there's fun days in college and like the single days and stuff. Don't get me wrong. But man, I think I saw a tweet. I forget what it was. It was like men in their 20s don't understand how amazing their 30s are. And I'm just now getting to that. Like
I told you that when you
yeah, that's right. Dude, like I'm feeling it. And I felt it, in my late 20s. But now I'm like, this really makes me appreciate life, man. It's unreal what can be done and what can happen and the things you get to look forward to, the excitement on your kid's face when you tell them you're going to the park. Like something so small that lights up your kid, like it makes you really appreciate. And I'm like, man, I need to enjoy this stuff more. I need to, because these are the memories that I'm going to remember. And I always say this on this podcast, I feel like, but like when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to remember that fancy new car you bought back 20 years ago. You're not going to remember which I'm looking for a Traeger right now, so I'm thinking about this, but like the new fancy Traeger grill, like it's the stuff, maybe it's the memories of smoking the meat with the family and, outside drinking the beers or whatever, but
smoking the meat.
That's right, man. But no, I don't know. It's just one of those things where.
When we were having a beer yesterday, I was like, how sick is it when you pull up to daycare and the kid sees you inside and runs out the door at daycare? Man.
It's the best. All right. If you were handed $250,000 right now, I plop it on the table. Here you go, Brad. Here's $250,000. What are you going to do with it? You can have responsible answers because this is a money podcast, but you can have fun answers too. I want to hear both.
And it was just given to me like a gift.
And you can't. I'm coming over this. You can't invest it. You can't invest the money. So what are you doing with it? Let's make this a little bit more. Maybe
that makes it easier for me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's do like what would you invest it in, and then what would you do if you couldn't invest it?
And I'm in my current state. Like this is happening to me tomorrow. Everything is like.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like my life is still the same.
Yeah, dude, I literally just plopped $250,000 right in front of your face. What are you doing with it tomorrow?
All right, I'm gonna pay off my brother's student loans.
Okay.
Which is probably we'll call it 75.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that first, and maybe get some interest back. I don't know, but I would make
yeah, there you go.
I would make some sort of position. I would put probably 100,000 just in the bank liquid,
okay,
and know that it was going to be a hard push to find a real estate. Like that's going to be a down payment on the house, and then call the other 100. It would the other 100 would go into the stock market, and 75% of that is going to go into VTSAX.
Okay.
And the other 25% is just going to go into individual stocks, a mix of dividend growth, like kind of what I would just take my usual automatic investments and multiply it by a lot. But
okay.
I think it's important. Actually, I got to take a little bit back because I was just about to say something and I'm like, well, I didn't add that in. I want to give a little bit like my brother. I want to take a little bit too. So I probably would go.
Well, no, let's say this. That's your questions for like investing.
Yeah, but like, no, I would put, if I had the 250, I'd probably go on a $50,000 vacation.
Oh, wow. Where would you go for $50K or multiple vacations?
No, it would be like a Europe trip.
Oh, okay.
It would be like I'm off 9 weeks in the summer. It would be a 9-week.
Very nice Europe trip.
Yes,
with the kids,
seeing the only trip I'd ever need.
Yeah,
that'd probably be it. So
I like that one.
Yeah, maybe a little less into VTSAX.
Yeah, that's okay.
I would give. So I've always worked with charities and things like that. I like giving when I can, and I also believe that sometimes you can only give time. But yeah, I would give a little. I would definitely take a little, but I'd invest most of it. And I want a real estate property.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get one, bud.
I think there's people downplay holding a little bit of liquid cash. I like being cash heavy.
I do too, especially in the state we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, dude, is so overvalued.
Yeah.
Everything is. So that's something we actually have a pretty big cash position right now ourselves. One, because you and I are looking for the property, and I think we need an episode on that. We haven't really ever really dove into your and I's plan.
Yeah, what does average money mean to us on the business side?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that'd be a good one.
You're here all
Let's
weekend.
knock it out, dude.
You're here all weekend.
So, and we've had questions on it come out about how we're setting our real estate stuff up, so that'd be something good to talk about too. Real quick to answer, I would probably just buy all real estate with it. I would just invest it all in real estate. Honestly, I'd probably wait for a little bit and to see if we do have some sort of a turn down, because these are at all-time high market. Real estate prices are insane right now. So I'd probably just sit on it in cash. I'd probably pay off my one, which people are going to be like, why would you do this? I'd probably pay off my one rental and then buy cash another one. Mm-hmm. A lot of people would say go buy 3 or 4 properties, which I agree with. I think that's great. But man, it's just not having this mortgage paid off and knowing I could have made a lot more money in the market. I don't care, dude.
It's starting to sink in that you've paid it. You're starting to get it. The whole mortgage thing.
Dude, it feels.
It's been probably 3 months?
Yeah.
You're really starting to.
Oh, for sure. And I can tell definitely.
Yeah, you haven't made 3 mortgage payments.
It's $3,000 back in my pocket. It's nuts, dude. Again, I could have made more if it was in the market, but I don't care. Because I wouldn't have had this feeling I have right now and that I have every morning. No, I'm this just paid off. Dude, I was literally, when we had that barbecue out in the Monday, whatever, for lunchtime, we were out there barbecuing, and I literally sat down and I told Lindsay, I was like, babe, this food tastes a little different. The sun on my skin feels a little different in this backyard because this is our backyard. The bank don't own this anymore. I do. So, oh man, it's a cool feeling.
Yeah.
But I'd probably just invest all mine in real estate, and then fun stuff would just be mostly it'd be all probably travel.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Kid loves Hawaii.
Can't wait, man. What would be your perfect day? Plan it out from waking up to bedtime. I'm curious on this one because I have no idea what you would say.
My perfect day. Okay, so I wake up. I have a pretty good breakfast, coffee, probably outside in the sun, maybe on the deck, but not a super hot day. Mm-hmm. Maybe a hoodie and some jeans. Maybe what we'd think of a fall day, but now I'm in spring mood. I would take the kids to the park or something like that, or even the beach, and do something during the day, pre-nap time. During nap time, I would get anything that I need to accomplish done. I have something to do every single day. I always have work to do. So it's even when I'm on vacation, I would never be able to go from being awake to going to sleep without having to do work. And you're well, pick your perfect day. I like working.
Yeah, you enjoy it. I get it.
So a part of my perfect day would be accomplishing work tasks, whether it's a little bit of editing or returning emails or something like that. So I would definitely want some work to do. At about 3:00, I would have my wife drop my kids and my in-laws. While she was doing that, I would go out for maybe a 2 to 3 hour bike ride. Like I said, nice cool weather, not cold on the bike, but just that perfect day on the bike. Get back 5:30, take my wife out to happy hour, have very nice drinks. We are drinkers. Maybe a little bit of wine, a little bit of good dinner. Come home, yada, yada, yada. Repeat.
Mine's not too much different. It's the typical, just it's crazy when you think about this too, because you could say oh, I want to wake up in a mansion in Greece and I want to have my foot rubbed, but that's not
my perfect day would be here.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man.
I'm also very routine oriented, and I'm not a fan of travel. I am a creature of habit, and I don't sometimes those first couple of days of vacation stress me out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my friends would be like, your perfect day, I need my kids to be there at least. I don't want them there in the night because I like to go after it at night. Yeah. That's okay. We got rid of them tonight.
Yeah. Well, have some fun tonight.
But we had them, like I said, all morning, and that's when they're in the best mood. And yeah.
Okay. No, that was good. That's like I said, that's kind of how mine is. Mine would just be wake up.
But you're right. I didn't think to be somewhere. I didn't even.
But that's funny though, because
I did not even consider being somewhere else.
That's how mine is.
I set the ambiance. I didn't even think.
Mm-mm.
Good on me for because
But that's what we appreciate, man. Like, no, maybe if it was like single JJ and single Brad, they'd probably have definitely different perfect days. But like right now, man, mine's pretty much the same. Wake up, I'd have a home cooking breakfast, the whole 9, like biscuits and gravy, fried taters, like the whole 9 yards, fried bacon, just everything. Eat that with the kiddos and the wife. And then one thing I really enjoy is a family like barbecue. I love when the family can come over.
Do y'all call them darties there? We call them darties.
Never
have you ever
heard of that?
A darty?
No.
A day party?
Nope.
You never like a like we have barbecues, but like a lot like and mostly kids. I'm like trying to like be that old dude that's like trying to use a cool hip word.
Oh, okay.
But
no, never heard of that.
Huge like, day drinking.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you're not always cooking, sometimes you're just at the beach.
Right.
Yeah, you're having a darty.
Okay. What's your biggest fear?
Dying early. Which is ridiculous because you can control it, but in the risk of like possibly emotionally breaking down, knowing that what the things that my parents didn't get to see, that's my biggest fear.
So can I say mine? Because I think when I say mine, you'll probably be like, oh, well, because I was thinking that when I first, but I've always had this fear of mine, and that is my wife or my kids dying before me. That's my biggest fear. I'm like, obviously my biggest fear is dying early as well. Like, dude, like when I'm working out, one of my motivations, I actually heard this on a podcast. If you guys are still listening, take this in for a second. There's times I don't want to work out. Mm-hmm. There's times that I am during a workout, I'm like, I'm just going to stop this one. Like I'm not feeling it today. But I listened to a podcast. It was it's actually a motivational video one time I listen to every now and then when I'm feeling down. Mm-hmm. And it was a dad on there, and he was like giving his motivational speech. And he said he went to the doctor one day, and the doctor took his blood work, and like he was kind of feeling a little bad. And the doctor came in, and he goes, I don't know what his name was, Adam. Let's call him Adam. I don't know. Hey, Adam, if you keep doing what you're doing, and you're not working out, and you're eating like shit, he goes, you will not be able to walk your daughter down the aisle.
That's why I went vegan.
Yeah.
I got the same talk from a doctor.
Yeah. Dude, that stuck with me, man. Like that hit home. Because like I've been making a little bit of a change now, but like, just a couple months ago, like, dude, we were both talking about it. We were overweight and like.
Now I sound like the selfish asshole, but I'll give you the reasons why. I think in my mind, and just by the same token, how a minute ago I didn't think my perfect day would be somewhere else. I put my wife and my kids in like a state of invincibility as long as I'm there to protect them.
Okay.
So I don't fear like what could happen to them necessarily, because I just want to believe that as long as I can protect them, that they're same as I tell Avery, like, what are monsters the most afraid of, Avery? And she's like, daddies. Yeah. Yep. So it's like things like that. But yeah, dude, I mean,
Dad's, what are you, a Sig Sauer guy?
Yeah.
Dad's Sig.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I mean, I also feel like, my fear of dying is that fear of taking away that invincibility from them and making them vulnerable. I know they'd be fine. But I think fear, I'm not worried about my kids. My kids would be okay. I think what I am worried about too is having the same fate as my parents, and that's really the only. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of dying before my term life insurance is up.
I don't think I've ever asked you this, Brad, and I don't. Well, yeah, I guess you're Catholic, right?
Yes.
So you believe in God and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So like, do you think that helped? Like that, dude, I'm telling you right now, my faith is.
I wouldn't say that I'm on the lower spectrum of like believe. I believe more in the spirituality. I've made Holy Communion. I've made my confirmation. I was married in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
Like I said, I have a lot of love for that belief, but I take a lot of the thing, be kind to other people,
Yeah.
and I use that, but I'd be a poser if I said like I'm super religious.
Okay.
I did not think about religion too much when my parents were sick or gonna pass away.
Okay.
Their funerals were not in churches. Like we were kind of like a go to church on Easter and Christmas kind of family.
Right.
But no, I don't think that really I'm very good at like just being like, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I was just curious because like that's something that really helps me with like not being afraid of death myself, is because I know in my beliefs, I know where I'm going. I know my maker. Like that's one thing that I think really does help me out is my faith. That's something I also really need to work on is my faith. I want to get stronger in that as well. So where do you hope to be in 5 to 10 years? This is my favorite question to ask anyone.
I'd like to be retired from my W-2 job, so that I could walk my kids to school every day. That's a major, major life goal that I've talked about many times on the podcast.
And your dad did that. That's one of the big things.
He walk me to school every single day. And when he was at the end, he said, one of the crappiest things about all this is I couldn't wait to walk my grandkids to school. And I said, I'm going to do that for you. I'll take care of that. I want that. I want to be a better version of myself. I think I've seen Matthew McConaughey. He's like, somebody asked him like who his hero was, and he said, my hero is me in 10 years, and then 10 years later. And he always strived to be the better form of himself, and he always saw his hero as being himself, but never could achieve it. It was always 10 years out. It was unattainable, but what he said, it always gave him somebody to shoot for, something to take in. So bettering myself, walking my kids to school is super important to me, and just continuing to build and educate and get smarter about things and maybe more patient. And I think where I see myself is in 5 years. Simple answer. I just see a better version of my current self.
Okay. I like it. I want to be financially independent, and I want to, so that way I'm not worrying about money, and I want to work whenever I want to work.
Right.
Lindsay and I talk about,
it's funny, man. You'll be 35.
Oh, man. I hope I make it.
35 is like I didn't even have kids yet when I was 35.
I hope I make it. I'm going to try hard. You're going to help me get there. But no, seriously, man, I want to be financially independent. And Lindsay and I do talk about like how cool it would be, like kids go to school. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and let's say her and I want to go grab a dinner somewhere, and we can do that. Like that's like the ultimate dream to me, man. Like working when I want to work, that's what I want to do.
And I want to be clear because I know where you're coming from. But if people are listening and maybe new to the journey, it's like it's not so you can like flex on your money. It's like you want to reap the rewards of the work that you're putting in now.
So true.
Like your 5-year plan is not to like have all this money and
I can't flex on my money because like my house and stuff I live in is not nothing to flex on.
No, but I mean, you're more saying to me, or what I hear more is you want to work whenever you want to work because that's a goal that you're working towards so that you can reallocate your time, which is way more valuable than money, to things that are more important to you. Higher on your priority list.
Yep. So true, man. I think this has been an awesome episode. Let us know, guys, if you enjoy these.
We're just having. We've even said we spend so much time like planning out episodes. Like, what money topic? Like, we can just sit down and shoot the ish every once in a while. We're not even drinking. It's early in the morning.
No doubt, man. And like, I get value from these types of episodes on other podcasts that I listen to, or like other videos where like the guys are just talking or whatever.
Yeah,
that's when sometimes I feel like I get my largest value is just hearing how other people do stuff.
We can kind of tease May. In May, all of our Monday episodes are going to be random people off the street that are kind of doing all the things that people think that just influencers do, or just people on Instagram, TikTok. So we have a couple awesome co-hosts coming up in May that you'll probably never meet, you'll probably never see, and
they're doing big things with money.
Exactly.
That's what I'm so excited for. Yeah, it's gonna be nice to hear like the average dude and how they're killing it with money.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of this podcast.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a good month.
Yeah.
All right. Which reality TV show would you be best on? This one, if you asked me this, I would know like that.
I have one that came to mind immediately, but I probably should have just went first thing. I would be really, really good at The Amazing Race.
That's a good one. I like that one. And I feel like you would because you are like, you are the planner, I got this. Hold up, because this is what's...
I'm a swindler too. Like if I need something to happen, I find a back door.
So true. I will say this about you also. If something has to get done, and this is really hard for me to say this because I have a lot of people in my life that I would trust myself over anyone else to do the task.
Right.
I think you are besides my wife, you are the first person that I think I trust 100%. If I say, hey, Brad, I need this to get done.
Yeah, I'll get it done.
hands down.
I'll get it done.
I think Amazing Race is a perfect one for you to pick. Yeah, that's a really good one.
I mean, I would like to think like I could be on Jeopardy, but I'm not that smart. Fear factor, I can't eat weird things.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that.
And like any like physical, like I'm thinking about all the bad TV shows I watch, like Real World, Road Rules, The Challenge. Like, I don't know. I'm definitely not America's Got Talent. I can like juggle barely. But I remember always watching, and like I couldn't do Survivor because I like to poop.
That's mine. Survivor's mine.
I like to poop in the toilet. I really do.
Yeah.
And then maybe I wouldn't get that in The Amazing Race. But I remember as a kid watching The Amazing Race and being like, man, I would be dope at this show.
Mm-hmm. Survivor's mine, man. That's one of my favorite all-time reality shows. I've been watching that since I've been like third grade.
I feel like it's the one I might want to do the most, but like the whole eating weird things and like, I want to be like, I make fire, you know, like
look what I have created.
Exactly. But no, the first night I'm like sleeping in the sand and it's like buggy. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I quit.
Yeah.
I do not survive. Put your little thing over my little flame. Finn's out of here.
Yeah.
Get me on a plane and I need to go home.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay. I wanted to throw this one in here because it's kind of like a money fun one.
Okay.
And I'm curious. This was the one that I said, like, I bet there's an answer because it's only like a 50-50 answer. There's only one way you can two ways you can answer it.
Okay.
Single Brad, single JJ probably answer this differently. Well, let's see. You get to spin a roulette wheel where if you land on red, you get 5 years in jail. But if you land on black, you get $100 million. Do you take the spin?
No, I wouldn't. Single or not, I wouldn't take the spin.
So explain why.
I've been to jail.
Yes, have you? Oh, I think I knew that. I knew that.
I've been to jail.
And I'm never going back.
Once or twice. 3 times a lady. And I'm never going back.
Yeah. You heard it here, folks. First on the Average Money Podcast.
And I was in one of those like cush jails too.
Yeah.
Just for the night. Just for the night. But I'm never going back.
Yeah.
And I think too, even all jokes aside, like even if I hadn't been to jail, like
you still wouldn't.
I got put in a drunk tank overnight.
Yeah.
Like I didn't kill anybody
right.
yet.
I
mean,
want to see the face tat coming up.
Exactly. But I think when I think about jail, I think about losing freedoms and the ability to control your own life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, would you say 100 mil?
Mm-hmm.
You're right, because like maybe if I'm 18, I'd suck it up. But no, I don't even think I would.
But so
because I know I don't need 100 mil to live.
Right.
So like that's an absorb. Like I would more be tempted by just like a milli.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be more relatable to me. But I don't think I would pay any money, especially now that I'm older. Like no brainer.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an amount of money that you could pay me to take away my freedoms.
So true. And that's what I wanted to get. The point I want to make here is like time is our most valuable asset.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm taking any amount of money. Think about that. 5 years of your life.
I'll tell you this though, JJ. There's people that might be listening that have done jail time. Like 5 years, I knocked that out.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. You know, 5 years, 100 million. But for me, that too. And like, I don't think I would do well in jail. I'm not like a jail guy.
I don't know if I'm a jail guy. I don't know, man. Like,
I don't want to. It's more about the freedoms.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If you came to me and want to take away any of my freedoms, there's current situations going on right now that are trying to restrict some of our freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just hate that. I want to be in full control of my destiny.
what would Brad be? What kind of jail guy would Brad be? I'm trying to pick like.
I'd be like, I'll be Squirrel Master. You ever seen Half Baked?
Yeah.
I'd be Squirrel Master.
I think I would just be like, I try to like coach through and like not really like make a scene. I would not really talk to too many people
With your sleeve tattoos and your big beard.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, dude, you'd be a pretty boy in jail.
Oh Jesus, here we go.
They're happy when you showed up.
Oh my God, it's pretty blue eyes.
You look at those eyes. I was just about to say,
Who's this fresh meat coming in here, baby?
All right, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no,
One
was
more.
it. That was it.
That was it?
Yep, that was good.
We got it. Yeah, we have to do more. I'm just like shooting the ish.
Mm-hmm. I like them.
We should maybe have like, well, we have asked them for questions that we can answer too, like a little Q&A. We usually do that when we do live streams. So get on the YouTube channel and try and find the live streams. And we got a day of recording ahead of us. We're going to be getting a ton of content out. And guys, thank you so much, JJ. You have anything else before we get out of here?
No, but I am looking forward to those May episodes. I'm excited to interview the typical average, person out there who's trying to get their way to work their way to FI. And we got a guy coming up that we're actually talking to today that he just has your typical 9-to-5 job, and him and his wife just crossed the $1 million mark. So it'll be exciting to hear his story and kind of how him and his wife were able to do the things that they did. And I always love these on other podcasts.
Yeah.
Is hearing like the random person I know nothing about, because I can connect with them better because I'm in their shoes. Now I'm like the whole like YouTuber type guy, which I still feels weird saying that. But when I was listening to podcasts before, like pre-YouTube days, I always connected with the people that like I knew were like in my shoes. And I also felt like, oh, well, if this guy's a regular good old boy and he did this, why can't I?
Exactly.
It's very motivating and exciting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely motivating. And I like going back and like remembering, being a little nostalgic too, like the beginnings. And because I appreciate when I was paying off debt and that hustle. And it's also going to be great to talk to people that are also doing much better than me with money, because we're trying to line some of those people up too. Like we are just average people. And, guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, until I see you guys in the next one, take care.